and I'd like to introduce our first guest. I'm really honored to be able to introduce our next guest, Governor Kim Reynolds. Kim is Iowa's first female governor. Beyond that, she has spent the last 6 years and really her entire life preparing to be governor of Iowa, worked with a great governor the last 6 years, is now has an opportunity to lead. And we'll hear that from her on a recent trip from China. So please join me in welcoming my friend, Governor Kim Reynolds.
Well, thank you, and good morning. And Bruce, thank you for that very nice introduction. It truly is an honor for me to be part of the 2017 Iowa Ag Summit, and I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Bruce and the many sponsors for helping make this event possible. Today's forum is a unique opportunity to bring together ag leaders from around the country to highlight and discuss challenges and issues facing Iowa farmers, manufacturers, and agriculture, and we have a great lineup to do just that. Agriculture at the hands of hardworking farmers is a vital piece of the United States economy, and in Iowa, we are especially aware of that. Every year, ag and ag-related industries pumps about $112 billion into Iowa's economy. Over 85% of Iowa's land use is used for agriculture. Iowa has some of the richest and most productive soil in the world, and our over 88,000 farms are 97% family-owned. We have been blessed with great gifts in terms of land, water, plants, and animals. And throughout our state's history, these valuable resources allow us to feed the hungry and enhance nutrition far beyond our borders. We've done this through research that occurs at our great universities, the innovation of our agribusiness companies, and because of the productivity of our farmers. We take great pride in our agricultural heritage as it forms the foundation of groundbreaking advancements that contribute to our ability to feed as well as fuel the world. Iowa's innovative farmers and robust ag businesses are not only increasing productivity, but improving soil health through utilization of technology and conservation practices like seed traits, variable application, soil mapping, cover crops, no-till, and grass waterways. These tools are allowing farmers to grow more with less inputs and better care for the environment. And what I find really encouraging is how this increased adoption of technology is not only creating new opportunities, but it certainly is generating a renewed interest in our young people and driving our next generation back home to the farm. Rural America, while home to many family farms, it also serves as a pathway for global trade. In Iowa, 1 in 3 farm acres are planted for exports, and our farmers and companies send exports to nearly every country in the world. We rank second in total agricultural exports. Our Iowa farmers exported more than $11 billion of ag exports in 2015. So I understand that trade concerns are troublesome for our farmers and Iowa companies. A strong dollar, more players in the global market, and our ability to increase yields, a new administration with new approaches have changed the game. We want to do everything we can to ensure that Iowa continues to be positioned to succeed globally as we not only maintain our existing markets and footprint, but we have the opportunity to explore new ones. Today, we have an opportunity to collectively discuss barriers, issues, and opportunities regarding modernizing NAFTA, which when I was at the NGA a couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity to sit down personally with Prime Minister Trudeau and talk about modernizing NAFTA, a collective voice, and how we can benefit all. Bilateral agreements, free and fair trade, and tariffs. Our goal is to ensure Iowa's high-quality products continue to move across borders and around the world. I have had the amazing opportunity to lead trade missions all over the world. And through those trade missions, we've established long-term relationships that are resulting in increased exports, more foreign direct investment back in our state, and most importantly, jobs for Iowans. In fact, on my very first trade mission as the Lieutenant Governor, which was to China, I learned really 3 important things. And the first thing was that Iowa is globally recognized for our strong reputation in producing safe, reliable, quality products. That Iowans think globally, and they rely on us to expand trade opportunities. And third, trade relationships are critical for a healthy Iowa economy. One of those relationships began in 1985 with now President Xi of China and former Governor Branstad. It is a relationship that we have worked to cultivate over the last 3 decades. I, as Bruce indicated, just recently returned from my 5th trade mission to China, and this was my first as governor of the state of Iowa. It was an historic trade mission because it was the first time ever that I had the opportunity and that Iowa has ever had an all-agricultural trade mission. Soybean, corn, beef, pork, poultry, egg, dairy, and Farm Bureau were represented on that trade mission. It was a united agriculture from Iowa with a strong voice working on common issues with many mutual benefits for all. For some of the commodities that participated in the trade mission, China is a developed market like soy and pork. For others, it was new opportunities for beef and dairy. And for some, we had the opportunity to talk about barriers that still exist, like turkey and poultry. As a result of that relationship that I talked about and that friendship, we were able to secure some very high-level meetings with several government officials, also including a meeting at the embassy with our very own Ambassador Branstad. I, along with our delegation, was very encouraged by the momentum that had been created by the 100-day plan between President Trump and President Xi. And through that plan, several of our biotech seed traits were expedited through the approval process, something that we hadn't seen any movement on for 5 years. And of course, the fact that they had now opened China up for U.S. beef, and it's the first time that we've been back in that market for 13 years. Also, during those meetings, we had very encouraging discussions regarding the remaining seed traits and really streamlining the approval process, creating a more efficient and transparent path to approval. Ethanol and biodiesel as a cleaner burning fuel, tolerance levels for traits, particularly for the DDGs, regionalization relating to poultry, and increased opportunities for accessing and regaining the market for turkey. We hope to build on the progress through the comprehensive economic dialogue that was just held in Washington, D.C. Several of the individuals, the governmental leaders that we met with, had participated in that, as well as Ambassador Branstad. And that started really with the 100-day plan and great optimism to continue to build on that momentum. While the U.S. has experienced a trade deficit with China, ag actually provides a trade surplus. And we highlighted our bilateral trade in ag as really a foundation and an example to build from in the continuing trade negotiations. So while China is advancing in agriculture throughout their country, they will continue to be reliant upon imports to feed their growing population. It's projected that another 300 plus million Chinese people will move into the middle class by 2020. And that growing middle class is desiring more protein in their diets. So ag innovation is critical to both the United States, China, and all of our world partners. We have a great deal we can learn from each other to address those shared challenges regarding crop productivity and resource management as we all work together to create a more food-secure world. Another important market for our agricultural products and our economy includes renewable fuels. The Renewable Fuel Standard, or the RFS, plays an important and major role in sustaining our ability to continue as an agricultural leader by giving farmers another market for their commodities. Over 43,000 jobs are supported by the RFS in the renewable fuel industry. $2.3 billion of incomes for Iowans comes from that industry. 3.5%, almost $5 billion of Iowa GDP was tied directly to the renewable fuel industry in 2015. Earlier this week, I had the opportunity to testify on behalf of the RFS in Washington, D.C. As the current ag economy experiences a downturn, sustainability and predictability in renewable fuels markets are incredibly impactful to the bottom line of farmers in rural Iowa. Furthermore, Iowans appreciate having options at the pump, and when they have those options, they continue to choose renewable fuels as a lower cost option. Through my testimony, I thanked the administration for their timeliness of the proposal. That's something we had not seen from the previous administration. And in setting the RFS level for conventional biofuels, including corn ethanol, at the statutorily required level of 15 billion gallons, helping again provide predictability and stability to the renewable fuels industry. I, however, expressed my extreme disappointment in EPA's proposed cut to the advanced biofuel volumes, including the stagnation for the levels for biodiesel. I urged the EPA to set the 2019 biodiesel level at 2.75 gallons, and I encouraged the EPA to implement the required future projections necessary to properly set the 2018 cellulosic ethanol level in the final rule. I also encouraged them to immediately grant E15 the same 1 pound volatility waiver as E10 to allow for year-round market access to E15. While I am encouraged by the accessibility of the White House and Administrator Pruitt since taking the reins at EPA, you need to know that we can't let up. We need to continue to deliver that message on the importance of a robust renewable fuel standard. And my message was, if you set those levels high, our producers and industry in Iowa will meet and exceed those levels. So I will continue to be a tireless advocate for renewable fuels because our farmers have demonstrated that they can indeed feed and fuel the world. As I wrap up, in our quest to continue to feed and fuel the world, we must continue to be mindful of our natural resources, particularly water quality. I believe that we have the right strategy in the nutrient reduction strategy, which helps us identify best practices with accountability. I assure you that I will continue to push to pass legislation that ensures a long-term, dedicated, and growing source of funding for water quality projects that align with the Iowa Nutrient Reduction Strategy. We were so close last year, and I will not and my team will not let up until I have a bill on my desk to sign. It's an issue that affects all of us regardless of where we live and how we use our land. By leading on this issue, together we have the opportunity to modernize Iowa's ag infrastructure, create jobs in rural Iowa, and promote collaboration between urban and rural communities while maintaining water quality. And of course, we all know that the rest of the country is watching. So I look forward to continuing to promote Iowa's strong reputation in producing safe, reliable, and quality products while enhancing trade relationships that are critical for a healthy Iowa economy. And with that in mind, I invite the Ag Summit guest speakers to use this forum as an opportunity to gain a better understanding of the policies, regulations, technologies, and innovations that are impacting our farmers, so that our nation's ag industry will be strengthened and our country's future will be fortified for generations and generations to come. Thank you, and thank you for being here and participating in this great summit. Thank you.